Hi and welcome. We're going to talk about how to find the probability of a complement. So here's our LEQ, how to use the greatest possible probability to help you calculate the probability of an event not occurring. It always trips us up on questions when it's asking us the probability of something not happening because we tend to not read the not, and that gets us confused. So let's talk about that today. Here is a probability line that you can find on the internet, and it's saying that what it's showing us is that the probability is on a spectrum from 0 to 1. So the greatest possible probability is 1, or 100%, which is certainty, and the lowest possible probability is 0, meaning impossible. Can't happen. So for example, if I was going to roll a die and say, well, what's the probability that I'm going to land on a number less than 7? Well, that's 100% because all of the numbers on a die are less than 7. But if I said, what's the probability I'm going to roll a die and get a 9? Then the answer is 0 because none of them are 9. So all of our probability answers should be between 0 and 1, and they're either going to be a fraction or a decimal. So now there's this bag, and it's a bag of marbles, and in the bag of marbles, there are red and blue marbles. And you can see that they are equally likely. But I'm going to change this bag, and I'm going to add one more red marble to the bag. So let's make it not equally likely. So now there are 4 reds and 3 blues. So now what's the probability that a red marble will not be chosen? Well, in this case, since there are only 2 choices, if you're not choosing a red, that you're choosing a blue. So the probability of not choosing red is actually the same as choosing blue. But what if I change this bag again and add more marbles and make it more tricky? So let's add 2 green marbles while we're at it. So there's a green one and another green one. Now, how would we find the probability of not choosing red? Well, the probability of choosing red would be 4 out of 9, because there are probability of getting red is 4 out of 9. So what I can do is I can take this probability and say I'm going to subtract the probability of getting red from 100%. So in the bag, the probability of choosing a marble is 9 out of 9. So I'm going to take the probability of everything combined together and subtract away all the reds so that the probability of not choosing red would be 5/9. And if you think about it, in the bag, there are 5 things that are not red. So that's true. The probability of not choosing red would be 5 out of 9 because I could choose the green or the blue. So now let's duplicate the bag and say there's 2 bags that are exactly the same. And we still have the 9 marbles in there. I drew in the extra red and 2 green in both bags. And what's the probability that we would not choose blue twice in a row? So to find the probability of not choosing blue, I first am going to actually find the probability of choosing blue. So what would be the chance that I would choose blue? So what's the probability of getting blue, 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 blue? Well, since the probability of choosing blue the first time was 3/9, and then choosing blue the second time in the second bag is also 3/9, 3/9, in 3/9. I'm going to do 3/9 times 3/9, and I'm going to get, I'm going to get 9 over 81, which is 1/9. So the probability of choosing a blue marble twice will be 1/9. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that probability and use it to help me find the probability of not choosing blue, So that I'm going to take 1, that's all the probabilities possible in these 2 bags, 100% of them, and I'm going to subtract from that 1 the 1/9 of getting blue, blue, that's going to give me the rest of all the different outcomes, which is going to be 8/9. So what are these 8/9? Now, first of all, remember that's a simplified answer. So that is the answer, 8/9. But that's simplified down from 72/81, because there are 81 different outcomes here. Things like red, red, and then red, red again, and green, green, and green, blue, and green, red, and red, green. And there's 81 different combinations of marble colors. But of them, 8/9 of them are not blue, blue. And so the probability of not choosing blue and blue again would be 8/9, because I subtracted the probability of actually getting blue, blue away from 100%. So, in a nutshell, here is how you use the greatest probability to help you calculate the complement. So find the probability of an event not occurring. So let's say, for example, what's the probability of not rolling doubles? Well, first I got to figure out, how can I roll doubles when I roll 2 dice? Well, there are 6 ways. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6. So there are 6 ways to roll doubles, and there are 36 possible outcomes, because 6 times 6 is 36. So that means the probability of rolling doubles when you roll 2 dice is 1/6. So 1/6 of the time you'll roll doubles. If I want to find the probability of not rolling doubles, then I'm going to take 1, because that's all of the possible outcomes. 1, 6 out of 6. And I'm going to subtract away the 1/6 that is doubles, and my answer is 5/6. The probability of not rolling doubles is 5 out of 6. So here is the answer to the LEQ. How do you use the greatest possible probability? You find the probability of an event, and then you subtract that away from 1, and that will tell you what the probability is of it not occurring. Okay, I hope that was helpful to you. Good luck with your practice. Thank you.